Welcome to Richmond Kickers Weekly. My name is Daryl Grove, and I'm joined by a man who's on a 2-game winning streak. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello. We're recording here in sunny Orlando.
Yep.
Waiting for our, basically about to schedule a lift to come to get us to the airport.
Yep.
Fingers crossed in time.
Yep. So we are officially here for the MLS All-Star Game, which just happened, but we're unofficially here because we like to visit the cities of vanquished opponents.
Of course.
Last week, the Kickers beat Orlando City B. They came here and beat Orlando City B.
Yeah. And now I'm going home to Richmond, and Daryl is going straight to Toronto hang out in what appeared to be a wheat field.
the one area behind the goal did need some cleaning up.
It did.
Right? It made me appreciate actually the City Stadium, Richmond Kickers, the large grass bank that the kids can roll down.
Yeah.
The fact that that's just not overgrown.
Exactly.
Doesn't look good on TV, Toronto FC too. Doesn't look good on TV.
But if you need to show how maybe things aren't going well, I feel like you could easily assemble a tumbleweed to blow down the down the field if you needed to. So that's good.
Let's talk about the Kickers.
I suppose we should.
2 wins in a row. We have a new shape. I think the Kickers are now a back 3 team.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 2 games in a row, right?
I get confused by these things.
And it seems to be working. Yeah. And everybody's on their correct foot.
Yeah, which is not a thing that I necessarily expected to see them go, stick with the back 3. I wasn't sure if that was going to be the shape or if that was a shape necessitated by some of the injuries and situations they've had, but instead here we are with a back 3. And I think to your point about everybody on their right foot, or I guess in this case their left foot.
Left foot plays on the left foot, right foot plays on the right foot.
Exactly. The correct foot would be the best way to put it. But yeah, here we have Scott Thompson playing left center back, which I think is a move that had me a little bit nervous for the first 20 minutes or so, but then it seemed like it worked out overall.
And actually this is, I think, since the start of this Kickers winning streak, corresponds with some, what I would call odd positional choices by David Bulow that to me don't make sense when you see them on paper, but do make sense when you see the game. And I'm talking about, for example, having Mwape and Bolduc, who to me are absolutely wingers.
Yeah.
Playing as central midfielders. So that's been happening for the last 2 games.
And
it's been working. And then Scott Thompson, who's a left back, right? He's an attacking left back, a left centre back. The reason it does work, I think, in hindsight, is Ayo Akinyola. He was the threat for Toronto FC too, right? He's a US under-17 and under-20 player. He is not slow. Scott Thompson is not slow. So rather than having, say, Magales try and chase him around and not be fast enough to catch him, get a faster guy in there and you at least matching Akinyola pace for pace. So then he can't cause you trouble over the top.
Not to be difficult, is Scott Thompson that fast? Because I think of Scott Thompson,
he's faster than Ivan Magales.
Okay, I'll give you that. I think,
yeah.
But yeah, I think, but you still see why I found this game particularly interesting is because you see the sort of Kickers growing into it, but still the experimentation may be causing them problems because, to your point about maybe moving some people around, we have
better talk about the first goal.
Yeah, we have Josh Hughes playing as a left wingback, basically, and I think maybe, as you said, usually more of a central midfielder, so here on the left wing, maybe more focused on the attack, less so on the defense, and so for that first goal, he's both too far forward and maybe too far inside, and that gives a lot of space out wide for Petrasso.
And I wouldn't even say that it's he was so focused on the attack. It's more just his defensive positioning was wrong.
Right.
And he lets Petrasso get wide and deep behind him. It's almost like maybe he didn't check his shoulder and see him. I don't know how aware he was of Petrasso at all.
Yeah, and this is the snowball effect that we talk about a lot of the times, that as soon as Petrasso is open down that flank, now somebody has to put out that fire. It's not going to be Thompson because he's going to have to cover 25 yards in quick succession. So instead it's Braden Troyer who slides out, but now you have it's Scott Thompson who slides out.
It is Scott Thompson,
yeah. Now but that leaves Okello open in the middle of the box, who Scott Thompson had been marking. So now then Josh Hughes has tried to get back, but again, he's already trying to cover that gap. He's already sort of out of position and uncertain of that position maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
So then he's not able to make a play. And so one mistake in terms of positioning
Dominoes.
leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to a goal.
Yeah.
And it's a well-taken goal by Cerbelli, but it probably is credit to Cerbelli, but also maybe criticism for the Kickers for those sort of moments of confusion.
So it's a punch in the Cerbelli for the Richmond
there we
Kickers.
go. Well done.
1-0 down
well done,
after 19 minutes. That's why they pay me the medium bucks. But the Kickers bounce back and win this game 2-1.
They do, and I think it starts with after this goal, you can see Josh Hughes start to be a bit more attentive to that left side. He stays a little bit...
He learned from his mistake.
He does.
Yeah.
He stays back and he stays wide. he still has like the ability to get into the attack very quickly, and you see him doing that. That's
Scores
definitely
the winning goal.
Exactly. It's not quite from that narrative.
He does, but yeah.
But I think the thing for me was just more so that at times I had to pause to be like, wait, hold on, is he playing left back now because he was tucked in? But that's the system, right?
That's positive, right? Yeah. Sometimes when you're left wing back, you sometimes are left back essentially.
But then that allows the center backs to go out and make plays and kind of go out and patrol and intercept balls, and that's exactly what happens for that first goal. It's basically because they're in correct shape and in good discipline. Now Akwai can step out, win a ball, and then dribble forward, and he aggressively dribbles without leaving a giant pocket of space behind because you have defensive cover.
So he wins the free kick that I'm going to say Scott Thompson scores from. It's going to go down as an own goal by the keeper Klinowski. But I do want to focus on Akwai just for a second. The step is something we've seen a lot from Akwai throughout the entire season. Right? It's one of the reasons I really like him as a centre-back is that he steps aggressively but intelligently and almost always gets there first, wins the ball. But then often you see the kickers, once they have the ball, there's the possession. There's like they play it backwards and they give it to the goalkeeper and they move it around and they do this and they do that, but they don't really go anywhere. Akwai just drives forward. I like it.
There was an element of like Thanos, I'll do it myself there, of just like, okay, fine. If you all aren't going to go driving forward and give me the options, I will just take it forward myself. And I do like it that it's like I kept expecting it to be somebody else, but it's not. It's Cerbeli who's with Akwai, and then he stays with Akwai the whole way as they dribble, and it's kind of a few little moves and feints and hip swivels from Akwai, but in the end it's on the touchline. He gets kind of just clipped, taken out, and it's a free kick to the kickers. But it's the decisive run forward from Akwai that really sets this goal in motion.
And speaking of a change of approach, maybe, because again, like I said, Akwai doesn't like revert to a weird let's keep the ball possession thing. He just drives forward. Kickers have been, I'm going to say, criticised by specifically members of the Red Army for taking short set pieces, corners and free kicks. They will, when given an opportunity to cross it into the box, they will like play a short pass and establish possession and try and build something. Instead, Scott Thompson, left-footed, goes over to send in what would be an in-swinging free kick. Like, just dangerous. Like, really, honestly, very un-Bulow, un-Berhalter-y, just get the ball in the box kind of thing, right? Get it in the mixer. It's like England in the 80s.
Well, we haven't talked to David Bulow about this one. I would be curious.
We haven't talked to him in a while, right? We should get him on the show and talk to him. David, if you're listening, we'd love to get you in the office again.
We've sent some texts. But I would say this. I do wonder if it's TFC2, because it's younger guys, if maybe there's an idea of we've got the height advantage, we're playing against 17-year-olds, we're 28-year-olds, put the ball in the box and see what happens. And it's certainly facilitated by the wind in this case. If you look behind it, you can see trees. This is where it's helpful that Toronto have no fans behind the goal. You can see the trees really blowing, but especially right as that ball is struck, it
was
picks
like
up.
Happening.
Boo. I boo that reference.
Sorry.
Was that the best thing? You couldn't just let it be wind in the trees. You had to find something.
Sorry, I interrupted with a bad joke. Where were you going with that?
Oh, that was a joke?
Yeah.
No, you have to sit in that now. And, I was going with, you can see that the wind picks up as soon as that ball is struck.
Right.
And I think that also causes problems. Akwai does try to charge this. He does try to make a play. But I think really it's...
He doesn't get a challenge before Klinowski drops it, right?
I mean, not really. He sort of like is running in the area of
He's
Klinowski.
In the vicinity?
Maybe he hears footsteps, Klinowski, but I think the bigger thing is just that he misjudges this. Maybe he's worried about like coming off of his line if he needs to, and so he takes a step forward, but he backpedals a little bit. But in the end, he really should do better than this one. I think he
gets
just...
his hands to it, right? I thought he caught it. I keep watching it thinking, he's got it, and he keeps dropping it behind him.
It probably... I mean, I am no goalkeeping expert, but it's probably... a series of small, poor decisions that, like, I think he steps off of his line, and then he shouldn't have, so now he's stepping backwards. Then he's jumping up as the ball is kind of curving in with a decent amount of velocity in the wind to it. And then I think the bigger thing is that he goes to catch it. And if you're kind of moving backwards and trying to catch a ball, like, you're going to be going backwards catching that ball.
One interesting debate point here. Why isn't this a goal for Scott Thompson? Like, isn't the cross on target and Klinowski drops it in? Because that's the rule. The rule with own goals is, right, if the shot's originally on target, it doesn't matter what happens in between. It goes to the guy, the attacking player that struck the ball. If it's off target and not going in, and a defender intervenes and sends it into their own goal, then it becomes an own goal. So is that what happened here?
No. It's that Klinowski catches the ball. And so I think that's where it becomes an own goal, is he catches the ball, and then he has to scramble because he then drops it. And so in scrambling, he basically throws it into his own net. Because if you watch, the ball ends up in the, like if you're looking at the goal, if you're facing the goal, if you're the Kickers player, the ball ends up in like the right side netting. Klinowski ends up in the left side netting because he's trying to like throw it out of the goal as dramatically as he can.
He established possession, essentially, is why it becomes a Klinowski own goal.
Exactly.
All right, and then we get to half-time. It's 1-1. Then just after half-time, it becomes 2-1 Richmond Kickers when they win a penalty kick. Joe Gallardo's penalty kick is saved by Klinowski. Josh Hughes comes out of camera shot.
Yeah, right?
Maybe they couldn't see him because maybe all the Toronto FC players were watching the camera and not the player. But he comes from out of shot and scores the rebound. Yes. The cameras are too low at the Toronto FC2 stadium. I'd like to talk about the build-up to the penalty kick and how we won it. Really nice run in behind from Mwape, correct?
Yes, absolutely. But again, it's decisive play from the Kickers because it's a good, even going back further, it's like a good kind of combination play. It's good dribbling from Lockerbie. But in the end, it basically is a misplaced ball by TFC that's kind of played to the middle of the field, maybe for a player, but Shinovsky makes a 10-yard step, intercepts the ball, and now, because Toronto, I think they have an opportunity to counterattack, they've moved some numbers forward, and I think Mwape is aware to that and has kind of checked in to show for the ball and then realizes, like, oh, their backline is a little bit erratic. I can make a big run in
He exploits the gap, runs in behind. Is it Shinovsky? I thought it was Thompson that plays the ball in behind.
Oh, it might be Thompson. You're right. Yeah. I think I just want it to be Shinovsky because he had a few moments of dramatic error in this game, but here I believe
like
it is.
Passing, right?
It's definitely Thompson. Yeah,
it is definitely Thompson. Okay, what I really like about it is it's in behind, but there seems to be at least a little bit of backspin on it, so that when it lands, it doesn't roll through to the keeper or roll out to the end line. It like holds up just enough for Mwape to run onto it. Then I like what Mwape does next. He fakes to shoot, right, and he really sort of properly sells the fake as I am hitting this left footed, everybody watch out, and instead he cuts back across, falls the Toronto FC defence, squares it to Joe Gallardo.
I think unfortunately there is a little bit of a touch from a Toronto defender, because I was with you. I was like, oh, he cuts it back and then he squares the ball, and I think he cuts it back and then tries to take a touch, and a TFC player makes a play on the ball. But I guess if you want to save it that way, you could say that. But even then, Mwape is alive to the ball and is then able to get on the end of it, even after there is a little bit of interference from a TFC player. Plays in Gallardo. Gallardo obviously clipped, obviously kind of shoved in the back at the same time.
Double? Should be 2 penalties. There should be 3-1.
Yeah, exactly. But Mohamed, the fact that he tries to do these sort of I'm dejected, like this is such a bad call stance, but really it just looks more of a I'm caught.
Yeah, because there's a little close up of him, right? And his face is, I did bad.
Yeah,
I did a bad thing.
And I guess if we want to be a little bit negative for a moment, I would say, speaking of doing bad, I would say Gallardo hits this penalty in about the worst spot you can. It is like off the ground, but it is not far enough away from the keeper to be like a difficult save to make. He basically puts it in the position that if a keeper dives to the right side, or to the correct side, I should say, he's going to make that save, and that's exactly what happens. I would say credit to Gallardo for hitting it as hard as he does, which is why I think Klinovsky isn't able to catch the ball or push it wide. He can only kind of block it, and that's why it spills to Josh Hughes. Gallardo does try to make a play, but I think because it's kind of like he's running through after his initial strike, he's then sort of reacting to it as opposed to being proactive with it. So he can't get it.
Does he think he gets a shout from Hughes, or does Gallardo just completely miss it and he's lucky that Hughes is coming in like Han Solo at the end of Star Wars? Spoiler alert.
That's a better reference. You make that reference, not happening references. But yeah, maybe he gets that shout. But I think it is also because his momentum is carrying him forward, and now the ball is moving behind him. At best, he's going to be able to take a touch and then probably have to take another touch and get the shot off.
Yeah.
So even if Hughes doesn't shout for it, we're going to say he does, and that's why this ball ends up in the net.
And it finishes 2-1 Richmond Kickers. Like I said, 2-game winning streak, whole new shape. I think a slightly different, more direct style of play seems to be paying some dividends, but the Kickers are still 9th out of 10 teams. It feels better to say 9th, right? Because you can imagine maybe there's 20 teams in the league.
As opposed to second bottom.
As opposed to second bottom. Now 5 points clear of Orlando City B, but still 5 points behind Toronto FC 2, despite this victory over them. Up next, the Kickers have no game this weekend, so they won't have a chance to catch up this weekend. But on August 10th, Kickers will be away to Forward Madison FC. First game ever against Forward Madison FC.
Yep.
USL, this is the matchup they didn't want to happen. They've been
they did put it off for as long as they could, but now we're finally getting it.
And the next time Kickers are back at City Stadium is Saturday, August the 17th against Toronto FC 2. Toronto FC 2. Come and look at our nice green bank.
And then I think
no tumbleweeds.
If not the game at home against Toronto, like the game after the game against Toronto, I think it's like right after that one is Forward Madison at home. So it's a weird
away. No, we go back away to Forward Madison.
So it's Toronto away, Forward Madison away, Toronto at home, Forward Madison away.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then Madison is at home at some point, I would assume. I think that's how it has to work.
The date for that is September 14th.
I'm guessing we'll do some shows in between now and then.
One a week. There won't be a Richmond Kickers Weekly next week because there's no game. So that just means the winning streak stays alive for a week longer.
There we go.
All right. So, victoriously, we'll say thank you for listening to Richmond Kickers Weekly. Let's have a celebratory chant from the Red Army to play us out.